Real quick, before this video starts, I just want to say no, not thank you to Chivo for editing this one. I'm editing this one. It's actually a little more serious. I want to say rest in peace to Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys, a musical icon, an absolute legend, one of the most important people in music history. I normally don't do this type of thing when an artist passes. I normally don't, really make statements on it, because I don't really feel like it's something I really tend to want to speak on. But with someone as important as Brian Wilson, with someone as influential, and someone whose work I've admired this much up to this point, with the stuff I've heard, I feel like I had to say something. So yeah, rest in peace to an actual legend. Incredible human being. One of the most important figures in music history. With that being said, hello everyone. Welcome to the Human Reviews channel, and today we are listening to the new King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard album, Phantom Island. This album came out 8 minutes ago. As of when I am filming this, I got a bit distracted from someone making a list of all my 10 out of 10s, and I was like ranking them bracket style or whatever. I've heard all three of the singles that they released for this album. I heard Phantom Island, loved it when it dropped. Deadstick took a little while to grow on me. When I first heard it, I thought it was just like, it was way too over the top. It felt like it was a little too grand, a little too boisterous. And I felt like it kind of lost a lot of the charm that Flight B741 had. But returning to it, I think the song absolutely slaps. I feel like I was just being miserable on my first listen. And Grow Wings and Fly, incredible single. I don't know why they'd release The Closer as a single. That feels like a pretty dumb choice. But you know what? It's a great track. Got me excited for the album. And I'm going into this thing with pretty high expectations. I'm going to get a notepad up here so I can keep track of my scores. This album is 10 tracks, 46 minutes. It's around the same as Flight B741, if I'm not mistaken. It's also 10 tracks and around 40 minutes. I'm going into this thing with decently high expectations, going in wanting to like this, going in expecting to like this. Lego, track 1, Phantom Island. I haven't re-listened to this song in a while, so it's a bit, it's pretty fresh. It's gonna be a pretty fresh listen. Yeah, the big band sound they put into this is so cool.
A Lambo illusion breaks the ocean surface. Is this mental confusion, or have I finally found my purpose? I hope this place is here in the morning, or I'll be floating back to land with the water-bloated corpses.
This really is it's such a clever way of expanding on the sound of the previous album. It feels so similar, but it feels like that album being brought to its fullest potential here. Yeah, something else in a good way or a bad way? It's great to have such a multi-phase song to start off the album as well. It goes through so many different insane switch-ups. There's almost 3 songs tagged into one, in a good way. Like almost an overture for what's to come in the rest of the album. Except not quite an overture, more like a teaser. A little bit of the darkness seeping in at the end here. I would do it with transitions into every song as well. Same as Flight B741. Well, I'm guessing it's going to be between every song. Yeah, Phantom Island, still an absolutely incredible track. It's nice. I do like that I didn't really re-listen to the song. I've re-listened to it maybe I think twice since it came out. And it's not been for a while since I listened to that song. So it's pretty fresh in my head. And getting a fresh listen and just being able to view it as an album opener as opposed to this song that I've heard a bunch of times. Which, of all the songs on here, I've listened to Deadstick the most, funnily enough. Yeah, it's nice to kind of just get a fresh listen to this as an opener, and just viewing it as an opener, I think it's fantastic. It's a great way to establish how much of a, expansion on the ideas being presented on Flight B741 this album is going to be. Sort of taking a lot of that same classic kind of boogie-woogie rock and roll, very dirty, very southern, and kind of just adding this big, orchestral big band, almost at points funky spin to this, makes this feel so much more ridiculous, but also so much more emotionally powerful at the same time. Phantom Island is an incredible opener. I'm feeling a 9.2. This is good shit. This is what we call good shit. Great way to start this album off. Up next, Deadstick. Another song I have already heard, one of the singles. I have updated thoughts on this song. I re-listened to this just yesterday, actually. Actually, no, earlier today, not yesterday. I think the thing that bugged me about this song is I was just a little bit turned away by how performative and how, I guess, theatric everything is here. Everything is cranked up to 11. The scope of the song is cranked up to 11. The over-the-top performances, the colors and insane textures, and even like the big band elements present on the previous song, it's all cranked up to 11. And I think it was just a bit much. Especially, the only other taste we had was Phantom Island, which had those elements present, but it wasn't quite to the same level as this, and I think this was just a little bit of whiplash on a first listen. You know, returning to this, though, and kind of also having the context of Grow Wings and Fly, I really think that this song is a great continuation of what was happening on the previous track, a great elevation of what was happening on the previous track. I don't know, it's just a great single for the album. I was just a little bit taken aback by it. Yeah, everything sounds way tighter. Flight B741 is so loose. Everything's so spacey on that album. It feels like a 70s album, I guess, mixing-wise. This feels way tighter, way more modern. Oh yeah, his vocals on this song are, like, so good. Great performances from both Shu, Joe, and Ambrose as well. It's just so fun. Voice crack. It's just so fun, man. There's such a carefree nature to this, even as they're describing, like, being in a plane crash and they're all about to die. There's just something so cheery and, like, kind of a cathartic release to all of this. It's infectious as hell. Exactly, if I'm ever in a plane crash, I know I'm going to be playing this. Okay. Again, on a first listen, I guess I just was taken a bit, like, aback by how insane the presentation is here, by just how ridiculous and over the top and cranked to the highest notch all of the, I guess, more bombastic elements of the previous track were, like, brought over to this song. But having more time to sit with the track, having, you know, the context of this song kind of being a progression of the previous song as well, I've grown to really love this one. I think this song is one of the catchiest that King Gizzard have ever made, one of the most energetic that the band have ever made, and also just one of the most memorable as well. There are so many standout lines throughout this, particularly the breakdown where with Ambrose in the final third of the song, where everything here just pops in all the best way possible. All the best ways possible. Sorry, I can't speak. I've grown to really love this song. I was a bit a hater at one point, but now I do really like this track. It's an 8.8 for me? High 8? Yeah. Not quite as good as Phantom Island in my opinion, but a great follow-up that, you know, is keeping up the very fun, bouncy, carefree nature of this album. Up next we have Lonely Cosmos, the first song I have not heard. Okay, I'm nervous. What if it's dog shit? We'll see. Gonna get the lyrics up on Genius as well. Yeah, just getting a straight up orchestral arrangement intro, getting the strings. Acoustic guitar. I'm probably very wrong about this. Have there been any songs with acoustic guitar that King Gizzard have made since Paper Mache Dream Balloon? I can't think of any off the top of my head. Acoustic guitar is a fucking shock on a King Gizzard song. Wow. You know, this really is reminding me of Paper Mache Dream Balloon. Yeah, the pluckiness, the simplicity here. I don't know, even feels like it has some almost folky sensibilities here. It's obviously not like a folk song or anything like that, but it feels like it's taking some of the elements that they were implementing on that album and kind of doing them way better here, in my opinion. I don't hate Paper Mache Dream Balloon, but it's not my favorite King Gizzard. I feel like it could have been a lot better than it was. Ooh, Polygon's Wonderland, yeah. Even feels like there's a little bit of Eastern influence here as well. Again, that's another thing I really appreciate about Flight B741 is that they were bringing everybody on vocals in at least some capacity. You got your first Michael Kavanagh vocal performance, or at least first lead vocal performance. There was a big emphasis on getting everyone involved in the singing, and I hope they do that here as well. I know he's become a lot more confident singing, like doing the Risk a lot live, so it'd be nice to maybe even get like a full song led by him. Oh, he's doing a little tribute to the Tomorrow Never Knows drum beat here. Doing a little Beatles reference in here. Slightly switched up, throwing some extra fills in there and stuff, but I feel like it's a pretty clear reference to the Beatles. That's pretty cool. After this song, the album loses you a bit until the last two songs. We'll see. We'll see. I think that song is the weakest of the bunch up to this point, but still great. It's a low 8 for me. I give it like an 8.2. I think that track is a much welcome slowdown coming after Deadstick, but I'm gonna get my one problem out of the way, and I think it's just a little long. This song did not really need 5.5 minutes. It felt like it sort of started to meander at certain points. It felt like certain instrumental sections just took a little too long to kind of like progress and evolve and even just switch up into like another section. But as is, I do think this is still a great song because, again, they're really showing a great display here, even more so than on Flight B741, to have so much variety while still making an album that's very specifically one genre. And that's what I liked about Flight B741 is, again, it's very much like a throwback boogie woogie rock and roll album, but it's still able to have so much variety in the execution. And they're doing that here as well, working in some Eastern influences, even, you know, having callbacks to like Beatles songs here. They're able to throw in bits of acoustic instrumentation to give it even like a little bit of a folky spin as well, reminding me of Paper Mache Dream Balloon. I'm liking this album a lot so far. These first three songs, I mean, I knew I liked the first two songs, but Lonely Cosmos being the first, like, deep cut track, I have faith that the rest of this album is going to be good. Now, we got some people disagreeing with me here, but I have hope. El Opinion, because I spoke. Interesting. Eternal Return. Lots of Kurt Craig vocals, Jesus Christ. Really giving him his time to shine on the album here. I like it though, his voice is really sweet. And it really feels like his voice is the best fit for the more orchestral stuff. Very groovy indeed. Like, fucking excuse me? What? Okay. It's got a 7/4 song, and it has to. It's a King Gizzard album. It's not a King Gizzard album if it doesn't. This is so fucking impressive. I need to just, like, I need my moment to glaze. They are capturing this throwback sound literally perfectly. There was a moment there in that Ambrose verse where, like, this entire song basically just, like, locked into place for me. Everything clicked. It sounded like Swans at 1 minute and 30. Hold on, 2 minutes and 40 is our marker. Let's see. I don't see it. I disagree. Reminds you of Jira? I can kind of see it.
Which way is the right way down the yellow brick road of life? When you're looking through a magnifying glass in a small man's world. But as your face is changing,
The bass sounds incredible here. Bass really getting its moment in the spotlight here. Again, nice transition as to be expected. A tonal return. The song took a second to click, but once it did, once you get to that one particular moment in the track, everything falls into place. It got to the Ambrose verse, and I don't know, there was just one line where it literally just felt like it was ripped straight out of a 70s song and just thrown into a King Gizzard album. And from that point on, the entire song literally felt like it could have been released in the 70s in the best way possible. Not that it sounds like dated or it sounds, you know, like it's aged poorly. It literally sounds like it's capturing that decade perfectly in terms of, like, mixing and production style. That is so impressive. It's delightful. I love the recording style of the 70s. I love the kind of spaciness and the more low-end heavy sort of sound that you get out of 70s stuff. The 70s, in terms of sound, reminds me of, like, film grain on a film. It feels like the musical equivalent of that. And this song captures it perfectly. And on top of that, it's able to be catchy, and you get a lot of... I feel like the vocals have been matching the sound on this song the best up to this point. It feels like everyone is doing their best to match the orchestra side of the album on this track. And it works perfectly. Yeah, flat 9 on that song. So fucking good. And next we have Panpsych. Folk jump scare.
are you always sailing through troubled waters? And going in the river our fans are the wind whispers a secret message for.
Yep, I completely agree. We are 1.5 minutes into this song, and it hasn't done anything. It hasn't provided anything to separate itself from any of the other songs up to this point. This literally feels like we're just doing the same thing as the last 2 songs. Yeah, I'm not too crazy on this one up to this point.
The sweet divine of the pearl oyster wanders amulet for the latte pastures.
He even sounds bored here. Ambrose doesn't even sound invested in this track. A big thing for me when I'm listening to music is I always envision, like, the artist or band performing the song in my head, and it kind of gives me like a picture of what I think the circumstances the song was made under. He sounds bored by the song. It doesn't even sound like he's invested in this.
I am the bright red blood coursing through your
There we go, Lucas Harwood, lead vocals here. They play songs on the album. Yeah, the final song is decently slow. I'd say comparatively, this song's pretty slow as well. I'm liking the focus that the bass is getting on the album. I'll give it that. That is, yeah, the weakest so far for me. That song is the first track that feels stale. All of the first 4 tracks feel like they give you something new, give you something different. Phantom Island is like this great introduction to the new sound. Deadstick is the most bombastic song. And then Lonely Cosmos is something a little more, subtle, a little more emotional. And then Eternal Return is a nice switch into, I don't know, something just a little more, I guess, grand that doesn't feel too overbearing. This song feels like it's just taking what was happening on the previous two tracks and not adding to it. If anything, it's regressing. The band don't sound anywhere near as invested outside of Lucas Harwood and Stu McKenzie. Like, Joe Walker and Ambrose both feel like they aren't bringing anything to this song. And on top of that, outside of like some nice funky drums and even like a pretty solid bass line on this one that really does stand out. I'm liking how much focus the bass is getting. Even the instrumental just felt so just blah, It's just like, here's some riffing that's nowhere near as interesting. Gonna add some woodwind in there. Not going to do much with it, but it's going to be there. Nothing popped on this song, unfortunately. I'm feeling 5.2 on this one. Low 5. It's not bad, but I want to see how Spacesick. Is this their most ambitious? No, I'd say Omnium Gatherum is their most ambitious. This is definitely a big step forward, though, working in all of this, like, orchestral stuff. But I'd say Omnium Gatherum is their most ambitious project. Average score so far? It's an excellent question. Flat 8 is the average score so far. Feels like all of the past couple songs are moving at the exact same pace, yeah. Actually, cool string work there. An early week of that. The album's out today, damn it. We're not a week early. Everyone keeps thinking it's, well, a couple people think it's out next week. It's out today. Well, it's out on the 13th. Song's picking itself up in the second half. Early leak. It's a time zone thing. It's midnight for me. Albums drop at midnight, and just depending on time zones. So I get it before you do. I'm sorry, that was rude. Now I said the song's picking itself up in the second half. Forget that, it's lost me again. Wow. That song had some strong moments in the back half. I felt like once the strings sort of started to swell and take over the instrumental in the back half of the song, I thought it really worked. But again, the song just didn't go anywhere with it. It was like the first quarter of the song was fun, second quarter of the song went nowhere. Third quarter of the song's fun, fourth quarter of the song went nowhere. 50% of this track feels adventurous and like actually kind of genius, okay? The way it's arranged, the way it kind of progresses the ideas presented on the previous tracks, but it doesn't do enough of that. It feels like this song could have been half the length and it would have improved it by an infinite margin. Like, as is, this song just does not do enough in the way of progressing and doesn't do enough in the way of providing new things to latch onto, so you kind of just get lost in a loop. I'm feeling a 6.7 out of 10 on this song. What do you think about the lyrics? I'm not really caring about the lyrics on this. I thought the lyrics on Flight B741 were really fun. They are fun on a handful of tracks on this album, but for the most part, I'm really not giving a shit about the lyrics up to this point. Up next, we have Aerodynamic. It's not the Daft Punk song, exactly. Come on. It's been like 3 songs of the same thing. Don't tell me the creative wells run dry for the album, dude. Come on. It's been 3 straight songs of them just sounding the exact fucking same. Like, Flight B741, there was so much variety, man. Every song had such like it had like a distinct thing about it. This album had that in the first 4 songs, but beyond that, it doesn't feel like there's anything new. It like the charm and the appeal of the orchestral elements has already worn off, because they're not being used in the same transformative ways that they were on the first 2 songs. It feels like it's just there as background noise at this point. It doesn't feel like it's transforming.
The moon speaks to me this night. She says, follow my light.
Yeah, it had the microtonality that it was playing with KG and LW. Like a lot less restricted, I guess. Single line chorus. Not even an energetic vocal performance is saving this dude. Jesus Christ, this song is bland. I'm out. Like, I'm out of it at this point. This sucks, man. Why? Why are we making the same song 3 times in a row? What the fuck, man? Like, the song just ended and I don't remember anything about it. Because the three previous songs are just bleeding into each other for me. Feels like when I listened to that fucking ELO album and all of the songs just sounded the exact same and I didn't remember a single thing by the end of the album. This had such a strong first half, dude. The first half of this album was just as good, if not better, than Flight B741. And moving into the second half, it just feels like the creative well has run a little dry. Like, we don't really have enough ideas for even a 10-track album. I feel like this should have been an EP. Or maybe even just like an extended edition of Flight B741. These past 3 songs, man, they just feel like filler. It doesn't feel like they're pushing anything. They're not really adding any elements of progression to the sound of the album. They're not really adding anything lyrically interesting to the album. It doesn't really feel like sonically the songs are adventuring at all. Yeah, they lost their ambition after the first 5 songs. After the first 4 songs, honestly. Imagine if they release a surprise album next week. That would be fucking fire. If they did that, even though I'm kind of underwhelmed by this album, that would be so fucking exciting. I don't know, man. It feels like they had these songs that they just didn't like off of Flight B741, or that they feel like weren't finished enough, and they just kind of like tacked an orchestra onto it to see if it would work. And it did work for the first 4 songs. It made the first 4 songs feel so full. It gave the album a much grander feeling than Flight B741. A B741 felt a lot more just like a classic throwback rock and roll album that's like, you know, just kind of silly and really fun. This album feels like a product of shit. What do we do with these songs? Orchestra. It is a good excuse to try working in some orchestra when you have unused songs. It's a good way to, I guess, experiment. The experimentation worked on the first 4 songs, but we've had 3 underwhelming tracks beyond that. I didn't expect to go into the negatives. I'm feeling a 4.8 on that track. That was very drab, very colorless. Nothing stood out to me. Man, the last thing I expected with this album was to be going into the negatives. That is rough. I'm next we have Sea of Doubt.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Don't tell me that's all of Michael Kavanagh we're going to get on vocals is 1, 2, 3, 4. Please say you get some lead vocals on this. Yeah. Like, Deadstick and Phantom Island feel like they were written with the orchestra in mind.
I'm on the edge of a cliff.
See, this one just sounds way more rich immediately.
I'm in the forest of my mind that drifted moonless night.
I know what this album's been missing. It's been missing the distinct imagery of Flight B741. Flight B741, every single song had such a unique, specific flavor, such a unique, specific thing that it brought to the table. This album doesn't have that. It doesn't have the same imagery. Deadstick, Phantom Island, Lonely Cosmos, and Eternal Return have that. very extremely vivid imagery. Phantom Island feels like, you know, the sun rising on like a new day as these pigs are like flying off away from where they were. Deadstick is the crash landing. Lonely Cosmos is them missing home. Eternal Return is kind of an extension of them missing home, but sort of, you know, getting a lot more personal and specifically about love. And then we've gone nowhere. We've stayed in the same spot. This song has that imagery, okay? This song feels like the pigs, I guess, realizing that they need to start making a plan. That's the image I'm getting in my head. Yeah, it's possible that they'll grow on me. They could have the Deadstick effect, but as of right now, I'm just... I don't know, it feels like I've listened to the same song on repeat, you know? This song's a step up, though. The song sounds great so far. Why is this so empty? The instrumental here feels like it just lost so much depth out of nowhere. What the hell happened? Ooh.
Here comes the sun.
Yeah, Flight B741 grew on me a bunch on re-listens, to be fair, so maybe this album will have the same effect. Man, this is stunning. This is exactly what the album's been missing. Another 1, 2, 3, 4 count in. I guess a 1, 2, 3, 4 count out on that one. Sea of Doubt is the best song we've had since track 4, and it's not even close for me. I'm feeling a 7.9, literally the slightest bit below an 8 for me. And the only thing that would stop me from returning to this song is minor pacing issues, and also the instrumental feeling like it can be a bit empty at times, like they didn't really know how to fill a lot of the empty space on this song. But they got it right for the most part, and it, again, this track was still extremely satisfying, especially in comparison to the previous 3. It feels like they finally found their footing and were able to bring back a lot of the strong imagery that was present on, again, the first 4 songs, and sort of get back to, I think, the stronger storytelling, feeling like the pigs are finally realizing that they need to, you know, escape this sea of doubt and figure out a plan to either make it back home or continue on their journey to wherever the hell it was they were going. Massive step up. This song is a much needed rebound for the album, and I'm praying to God they keep this up for the final 2. Please, please don't make this album mid, okay? If the final 2 are good, that means the album is good, okay? Rocky 3-track run, but if we end it strong, I'll be satisfied. Silent Spirit. It's reminded me of the sound play on, like, What's Going On by Marvin Gaye. Something about this that just, again, feels like a band performing out on the street in the middle of winter. It's giving me the same imagery that album did, man. Not to the same degree, obviously, because What's Going On is one of the best albums of all time. But I'm getting similar feelings here. This is a promising start.
To my loved ones who navigate the currents of life. In this long night, there is no end. Leave them in the end. Father, be my friend. I would say, don't be a musician, my son. Be a doctor, lawyer, or a stand-up citizen. Time is eating its last meal. If they listen, could they heal?
I'm starting to agree with this. It does feel like it's bringing back some of the Eastern influences. But it has been good so far. Week 3-track run. It's picking itself back up. Unique theme park in Origin, one of the best theme park in the world several times. I'm confused by the question. Call back to an Omnium Gatherum song there, yeah. Silent Spirit is finally a great song. 8.1 out of 10. Very low 8. I think that song is what like tracks 5, 6, and 7 want it to be, but didn't quite reach. It felt like it was, again, going back to capturing the gorgeous, again, musical equivalent of film grain that a song like Eternal Return did. It felt like it was paying tribute to, you know, like even the likes of Marvin Gaye, with it sounding like it's being like a recording of a band performing on the street in like the middle of winter. There's something that is so timeless but also very specific to the 70s about this. This is bringing back the strong aesthetic of the first 4 songs, and it's doing it in a way that makes me feel like maybe I've missed something on the previous handful of tracks. I think the pacing on this song is a little weak. I feel like a lot of these songs have suffered from pretty bad pacing issues. It feels like this album could have been like 10 minutes shorter than it is, and we're not even done with the final song. But I don't know, man. I feel like maybe I have missed something on the previous couple songs, because this song feels like it was doing something very similar, but it was able to just recapture the magic of the first handful of tracks in a pretty big way. Nope, I think the past couple songs are still just boring, unfortunately. They of course have room to grow, but I wouldn't really count on it. I still don't find myself really enjoying that 3-track run. Eric would have made this album a 10, yeah. PPC made a much better Giz album this year than Giz album. Legit, though. That Psychedelic Porn Crumpets album, I'm not going to spoil it. Video on the Psychedelic Porn Crumpets album coming out Saturday. Some people in the chat know what my thoughts on it are, but listen, stay tuned for that video this Saturday. Grow wings and fly. Worst song on the album is, what was the name of the song? Aerodynamic. I mean, come on, it's night and day comparing this to a song like Aerodynamic, dude. The live version of this is 6. That was an L take, okay? That was a Rare Human Reviews L take. Like, these strings are singing right now, dude. It feels like the string arrangement is actually elevating the song, as opposed to just being like a background thing that's just kind of there. It feels like the song wouldn't work without the strings, you know? That's the biggest like determining factor for me of which songs have worked and which songs haven't. The songs that haven't worked have been the ones where it feels like the strings are just there. This song and all of the songs that have worked feel like they wouldn't work without the strings. Like the strings are like the glue holding the good tracks together, because, well, not just the strings, just the orchestral elements in general, the brass as well. That's been the difference between the good and the bad songs, in my opinion. I guess the gimmick of this album, of it being King Gizzard Orchestra Edition, tracks 5, 6, and 7 have just felt like they didn't need it. They've just felt like they have been here for the sake of being here. They've actually felt like B-sides, as opposed to, again, songs like Deadstick, Phantom Island, Silent Spirit, Grow Wings and Fly, that feel like they stand on their own because these orchestral elements are soaring so above and beyond what was even going on Flight B741. I feel like there's not even like a comparison that is even fair between this song and like an Aerodynamic. Yeah, it's more of a folk rock album almost, yeah. Like that is stunning. This is so good. Yes, absolutely. But do it in a context that maybe isn't as limiting as blues rock. I would like to see some orchestra maybe thrown into like another metal album or something like that. Imagine how fun that would be. Working in a bunch of different styles of metal and having some strings underneath it. That'd be so cool. A post-rock could be fun as well. Maybe something that's similar to like Laminated Denim, where it's just like 2, 3, 4 long songs with just some big massive strings. Exactly, no time signature changes, so it's been 0 out of 10. Yeah, this feels like a tester album. It feels like them just kind of experimenting. The experiments have worked for the most part. This album is by no means, it's a good album, it's really good, but you can also see where the tests don't work and where the shortcomings start to come in. I need to return to Polygon Dwanaland more. Like them doing their prog stuff, yeah. And I like when they take the proggy elements and apply it to different genres, like Petrodragonic Apocalypse being a like prog metal album, and then you have like Laminated Denim, which is them working in like a little bit of prog, a little bit of post-rock, and it's kind of... Oh, did we get taken down? That's GG's. And then I had to finish the song with audio muted on OBS so that the stream didn't get taken down again and get me an actual channel strike, so, you know, I'm just gonna have to skip the rest of the track, unfortunately. Oh, we're back. There we go. Jesus, that took way too long. Alright, ladies and gentlemen. Grow Wings and Fly is the best song on the album. I'm feeling a 9.4 out of 10 on this track. So, literally the most beautiful song I think they could have possibly created with under the guise of blues rock with orchestra. This feels like them taking that sound and doing something completely different. This doesn't even feel like it could have been recorded for Flight B741, dude. This feels like a completely different standalone thing, and it feels like the most fully realized version of this era of the band, if that makes sense. What did I give Shanghai? I don't remember. Shanghai's on Butterfly 3000, isn't it? I forget. I've not re-listened to that album since the video. I gave Shanghai a 68. That's not the best, it's the first three. The first three are great. The first three are incredible. And Phantom Island's a close second for me. Grow Wings and Fly feels like the most fully realized this area of the band has gotten, I guess. Outside of, like, you know, if we're counting this and Flight B741 together, Lyrisk would be, like, my favorite song, both albums combined, full stop. But, yeah, Grow Wings and Fly, with the orchestral stuff, feels like the band's experimentation being the most fully realized, and them getting, you know, to a point, well, one of multiple points on this album actually, where I feel like they are implementing it in such a tasteful way that actually genuinely feels like it not only elevates the song, but it's the glue that holds the song together. And this track also, another big thing that I almost forgot to mention, is incredibly well paced. 5 minutes, an actually appropriate runtime, as opposed to like every song since Deadstick that's felt like it's half a minute to a minute too long, and it just kind of gets to the point where I'm ready for the song to be over. No, I didn't want this song to be over. This song could have been 7 minutes, and I would have eaten every single second of it up. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that was Phantom Island. This album is good, but not great. This album essentially sees the band taking leftovers from the previous album and being like, hey, you know what? We have like 10 more songs that we didn't use on Flight B741. Let's use them to experiment with working in some orchestra. You know, let's use this as our tester album. And as a test, it's pretty damn good. It works really well for the majority of these songs. But you get a 3-track run in here with Panpsych, Spacesick, and Aerodynamic, where this album gets genuinely tough to sit through. Those 3 songs are some of the weakest we've had from King Gizzard that I can think of. Like, those 3 tracks, particularly Aerodynamic, were actually pretty draining, and it didn't even feel like they were experimenting all that much with those songs. It just felt like they threw them in here for the sake of having them in here, and kind of just had the orchestra as a background element. It wasn't even like a focal point of those tracks. They didn't push the concept forward, they didn't do anything for me lyrically, they didn't really feel like even instrumentally the band cared, and those tracks really did drag this album down from what could have been like an 8-9 out of 10 to being in the 7 range. I'm gonna do the maths, figure out a specific score, but this album's gonna be some shade of a 7 out of 10. Spoilers. Sounds about right. Oh, literally same here. 7.7 out of 10. Look at that, same score. Great minds think alike. 7.7 out of 10 on this album. Which, you know what, hey, for a collection of B-sides that's the band just, like, dicking about and testing stuff, I can't complain. That's way better than I would... Like, if you had told me that was, like, the circumstances this album was made under, that's a lot better than I would expect. Usually, when it comes to, like, artists just kind of like taking a bunch of scraps and kind of just messing with them, you get a hodgepodge of like okay highs and pretty dog shit lows. But no, this album has mostly been highs, just a weak 3-track run. I'll take what I can get. It's not as good as Flight B741. It's a fucking far cry from the best album they've put out. But you know what? For a collection of B-sides, it's good. Hip-hop album when I never want King Gizzard to make a hip-hop album. Please, please, please keep that in the dungeon. Don't ever let it see the light of day. I don't want it. Don't stick to rock music and electronic music. I don't want the hip-hop album. For the love of Christ. Please do not release that. I don't want it. Well, who knows? Maybe it'll be good. Maybe they've refined their hip-hop style. Maybe Ambrose can be the next Eminem or something. Next early Eminem. Not current Eminem. That bullshit he was doing on Made in Timeland, that was current Eminem. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Let me know what you think of this album down below and how it compares to other King Gizzard albums for you. It feels weird not thanking Chivo for editing this video. I usually do that at the end of a King Gizzard video, but we're not doing that today. Fuck you, I'm doing this one. You can see my reactions to every single King Gizzard album up to this point in a playlist that will be at the end of this video. Yeah, we've done all of them. This is not what, like their 27th album up to this point. So yeah, you got a lot of reactions that you can go through. Literally every single one of them. I have a video up that's been edited by Chivo. I'm going to continue covering this band as they release more projects. Probably going to get like 3 more this year or some stupid bullshit like that. Expect this band to become very consistently covered by me. Yeah, that's it. See you later. Don't be a prick. This was not illegally obtained. Bye bye.